As part of this renovation that we're working on, there are various wallpaper repairs that need to be done. Some of them are in really awkward places, such as above the stairwell here. And yeah, I think I can fix this. So I'm going to show you my process. If I can't fix it, well, I guess you'll never get to see this video. While I'm at it, I might as well show you other paints that I use. So just for general purpose emulsion. So as per usual, don't try this at home, folks. I have assessed my own risks and I am happy to take those risks. I don't advise you take the same risks. Anyway, so what we're looking at is the ceiling up here. I don't know if you can see, but there's a crack there and a crack there. And it's nothing to worry about, it's just the wallpaper's come a bit loose. Can you see there? And just there as well. And there's a few other places as well that I'll show you in a minute. The first thing I'm going to do, because what we need to do is just soften the paper a bit. You need to be careful here. If you soften the paper too much, it'll all start to fall off the ceiling, which we don't want to happen. But at the same time, we want it to be soft enough so that once we get some glue under this, it basically sticks to it and doesn't try to go back to its original shape, if that makes sense. So the first thing I'm going to do, damp cloth, give it a good soak. So when I say damp cloth, this is really quite wet because you want it to really kind of soak through. It's harder on ceilings because everything obviously drips away from where you want to stay wet. You might find you'll have to give it a couple of passes because you really need this to soften up a bit. It's just those two bits there. So I'm going to probably spend about a minute just kind of dampening it, but I'm not pressing so hard that I'm taking the paint off the ceiling or anything. But I'll just give this a wipe while I'm at it. Get some of the cobwebs away before we paint it. But yeah, you just want it to be nice and wet. That'll do it. Right, I'll leave that for probably 5 minutes or something, just for it to soften up. In the meantime, I've just got some bog standard PVA. I've tried various things for wallpaper repairs. I've tried SBR, I've tried all sorts of different glues. I find just watered down PVA works pretty well. I'm watering it down probably about 20%. You'll get a feel for it. You want it to be watery enough that it'll go underneath the wallpaper, but not so watery that it doesn't actually stick anymore. So we're just going to mix that together. I would say that's about perfect. Maybe a tiny bit more. Kind of the consistency of cream, I would say. Like single cream. Lovely. Honestly, I should be getting danger money for YouTube. Anyway, the next bit is really difficult to film because obviously I'm holding my camera here. Really, you should have two hands. But all I'm going to do is just try and get a scraper behind the wallpaper just a little bit. I don't want to like make it worse than it already was, but I need to make enough room to get a paintbrush behind there. It should do. I think that'll be fine. Actually going to cut that little bit there because I need to get a paintbrush behind it. There we go. That'll be alright. And then I'm going to get my watery PVA. This could get messy, so make sure you cover your carpets or whatever. Again, doing this one-handed is a little bit tricky. So all I'm doing is trying to wedge the PVA behind it like that. It's all dripping up my arm and all sorts of marvellous. Get as much in as you can. the side. The wallpaper rips, it's not really the end of the world. Honestly, don't be shy with it. And this is one of these jobs, you don't need to rush it, because the longer that it has to kind of soak into the paper, the more compliant your paper's going to be. So there's really no point in rushing a job like this. So I'm going to give this a try now. Sometimes you might have to leave it a little bit longer, but I think this will be okay. And I'm just going around with a damp cloth, just dabbing it back onto the ceiling. If you do get areas that don't stick, then just leave it a little bit for the paper to soften up a little bit more, and then come back to it. But that's actually pretty good. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. And then kind of rub from the back to the front, and then that forces PVA towards the gap. That is great. But just to show you how things are looking, that is now pretty much stuck down. But as it dries, you can give it another kind of push down. You see here, it keeps trying to conform to the original shape of the paper. But as it softens up and this PVA becomes more tacky, you'll find that it sticks easier and easier. So you can always go back over it maybe in 20 minutes or so. I think that is absolutely fine. Once there's some paint on that, you will never notice it. That's great. So we've got another bit in the spare bedroom here that needs doing. I might actually be able to get the camera close enough to show you the whole job from beginning to end. So once again, start off by wetting it. Both sides are a bit loose. And sometimes, if it's not that bad, you can sometimes just run a bead of cork down. But here, where it's properly loose, that needs a bit of glue behind it. And the reason this has probably happened is since they haven't primed the ceiling properly before wallpapering. But it can be for any number of reasons, so yeah, we'll just make sure that's nice and wet. Soften the paper up. See, that's loose all the way back to about there-ish. So we'll get the glue as far behind it as we possibly can. If it's really bad, what you could potentially do is score it with a Stanley knife, really sharp knife, cut it, fold it back after you've wet it to soften it, get some glue under. But here I can do it all from this one gap. I think it'll be fine. And lever that back a bit with the scraper. Just make sure you got your floor covered, because this drips everywhere. Should be all right on that side. Thumbnail. Quick bit of primer over that once it's dry, and then your top coats of paint. and you will never see that again. But as I say, if you can see a line from the join in the wallpaper where the crack was or whatever, tiny bit of cork down it, and you can rub it in with your fingers, you'll never see it again. But here, that is great. There we go, that's the end result there. It's really hard to show you. Trying to film a white background is tricky. Anyway, you'll just have to trust us, that is stuck to the ceiling. If you get a stubborn spot that keeps on falling away, then try leaving it for another 20 minutes and just try pushing it against the ceiling again. Sometimes, you know, 20 minutes, maybe even an hour of soaking the paper can soften it up enough. But the trouble is, if it's been like that for a long time, if you imagine how long the paper's been in the wrong shape, to get it to conform to the shape of the ceiling or whatever you're attaching it to, it can sometimes take a little while to soften the paper enough, but that is great. Next job is primer and then top coats. As per usual, I don't make sponsored videos on this channel, so do please hit subscribe because you'll pick up more kind of tips and things of jobs that I run into on a daily basis. But there's two main primers that I use. There's the Zinsser 123 Bullseye primer. It's really good, but it's quite expensive. And there's just the Leyland Trade acrylic primer undercoat. I've used that for years and it's always been great. Both, as far as I'm aware, can be used direct to bare plaster. I tend to use the Zinsser more in problematic areas like bathrooms, and the Zinsser also has a stain block built into it as well. Whereas for normal priming of bare wood and things like that, the Leyland one seems to work fine. You might get some staining coming through on the gap depending on what's in the ceiling underneath where the join is, and in which case just use a primer that has a stain block in, or you can buy a specialist stain block paint such as that, which is the Johnstone's Stain Away. But yeah, this exploded for some reason. The bottom of the can literally just opened up by itself. So that's being stored upside down at the moment. But yeah, a stain block paint will resolve any problems that you've got of weird stains coming through the white paint that's on your ceilings or on your walls. While I'm at it, I might as well show you other paints that I use. So just for general purpose emulsion and for mist coats and things like that, we're just using the McPherson Eclipse. And for mist coats, we just add a little bit of water, what, 10% or something like that? Not too much, otherwise you can run into problems with the paint not sticking to the substrate anymore, as we have found out. But yeah, general purpose emulsion, that's really good. We've also used, I think there's a Johnstone's Cover Plus or something that we've used over the years. That's pretty good as well. And for bathrooms, unless you're going for something fancy, but I've had all sorts of problems with fancy bathroom paints not sticking properly, so we're going to give this stuff a try because we just wanted like a white emulsion for this particular project. And this is the Zinsser mold resistant perma white. We're going to give that a try. I've never used it before, couldn't tell you anything about it, but it's got a 7-year performance perma white. Well, it's not guaranteed, I don't think, but it is allegedly mold resistant, and a lot of people seem to think it's pretty good. So we're going to give that a try in the bathroom. So folks, I hope you found that useful. If you've got any additional tips to add, if you've got problems with wallpaper falling off walls and things like that, please pop them down in the comments below because we always learn from each other on this channel. Do remember to hit subscribe because it genuinely helps me to make more free videos like this one. And it also means you'll be able to follow along on this renovation that we're working on at the minute, because there is a whole load of videos that are going to be coming out about work that we've done on this property. If you want to see the real nitty-gritty of a day-by-day kind of rolling set of videos about every job that we've done on this property, do head over to the member zone, but there will be loads of public videos coming out as well. So no fear, you are not missing out. As per usual folks, look after one another, be nice to each other. We shall see you next time. Tatty bye.